This is as far as you can go before entering the exclusion zone surrounding the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. Inside, the Tokyo Electric Power Company, or TEPCO, is struggling to contain the ongoing nuclear disaster. The Japanese government says the situation is under control. So we traveled here to find out whether that is in fact true, or if the world still needs to be worried.
David McNeil has been covering the Fukushima disaster since it began nearly 3 years ago.
How serious a crisis do we still have here in Japan?
Well, I think this is an ongoing crisis. What you've had is a series of ad hoc strategies designed to deal with the crisis that's right in front of you.
The real headache comes from the hundreds of tons of melted radioactive fuel in reactors 1, 2, and 3.
They only have the vaguest idea of where that fuel sits, that molten fuel. And what they have to do is keep it cool with water, because if they don't keep it cool, it heats up, radiation escapes, and then we're back to square one.
A constant flow of water is necessary to keep the melted down uranium cool. TEPCO has built thousands of tanks to store the daily flood of contaminated water, and they're running out of space.
The tanks have mushroomed all over the power plant. It's a forest of tanks, if you like. There's over 1,000 of them.
And then there's the groundwater. After years of denial, the power company admitted this fall that contaminated groundwater is flowing into the Pacific at a volume of an Olympic-sized swimming pool every week. It's this deluge of radioactive water that worries many Americans. This map making the rounds on social media shows radiation from Fukushima spreading throughout the Pacific. Professor Michio Aoyama is a scientist at the Meteorological Institute of Japan, who has spent his career studying the spread of radiation from nuclear tests. Now he's studying Fukushima.
What people in the United States will want to know is when that water is going to reach U.S. soil.
Okay.
And what would you say, based on your calculations?
The heavy leak, major leak will occur in the April and May 2011. And about 1 year after the accident, that means March last year, 2012, they reached to the international deadline.
But Professor Aoyama calculates that the radiation will slow, sink, and then harmlessly decay over decades as Pacific currents turn most of it towards Southeast Asia and the Indian Ocean.
So I can say that the people in the western coast are safe.
And because TEPCO captures most of the contaminated groundwater in a port outside the plant, Aoyama says few areas outside of Fukushima are affected.
Simply saying, the seafood expected from the level of the radioactivity in the seawater is only 2% of the regulation limit. So I eat the seafood every day.
And that scary graphic? It's actually an altered NOAA map showing the tsunami's path in 2011. American officials say there is no evidence of unsafe fish in the American food supply. It's reassuring, but all bets are off if TEPCO doesn't come up with a long-term strategy to plug the leaking plant.